Before diving into Season 2, let's roll it back and talk about what went down in Season 1. Years ago, these weird portals started showing up all over the world. They weren't normal, they connected our world to dungeons crawling with deadly monsters. Humanity was caught off guard. Some folks woke up with special abilities. These people, called hunters, became the only line of defense against the chaos. That's where Jin Woo comes in. He's an E-rank hunter, the lowest of the low. Nobody expects much from him because his powers are trash. He can't get stronger, no matter how hard he tries. He's out here hustling, taking dangerous jobs to take care of his sick mom and younger sister. Life's rough, but Jin Woo doesn't back down. Everything changes when he ends up in a raid inside a double dungeon. This place wasn't on the level of what his team signed up for. Most of them don't make it out alive. Jin Woo survives, but he comes out with something nobody's seen before. He gets a power that lets him grow stronger every time he fights. It's as if he's in a game where he can level up. Suddenly, the weakest hunter starts climbing the ranks. He takes on tougher dungeons, crazier monsters, and keeps getting stronger every step of the way. Jin Woo doesn't just survive, he turns into someone you don't mess with. His true power lies in controlling the souls of those he defeats, adding them to his unstoppable shadow army. That's how Season 1 sets the stage. Now it's time to see where Jin Woo's story goes in Season 2. The story picks up with Jin Woo still in bed. Then his phone rings. It turns out to be his sister Jinna. Hearing his voice, she immediately knows he's just woken up and asks if he even knows what time it is. He checks the clock and realizes it's already 2 in the afternoon. Jinna reminds him about her parent-teacher meeting that's happening today. The scene shifts to the meeting, where Jin Woo shows up looking sharp. Jinna is surprised by how polished he looks and asks if something's off. He explains he couldn't show up in sportswear to meet her teacher, so he had to wear something decent. Jinna remarks on how much people can change, and as they walk through the school hallway, Jin Woo catches the attention of several girls, but he stays composed, making the girls wonder who he is. Jinna, noticing the attention he's getting, reminds him that he still doesn't have a girlfriend and offers to introduce him to someone, but Jin Woo isn't interested and brushes it off. Later, Jin Woo sits down with Jinna's teacher, who praises her as a role model for other students. The teacher mentions her good grades and strong performance on mock exams, expressing confidence that Jinna will get into medical college. She hopes Jin Woo won't pressure her too much, and he reassures her that he understands. Before ending the meeting, the teacher asks Jin Woo if he'd ever let Jinna become a hunter if she awakened. Jin Woo firmly says no. The teacher anticipated this answer, so she asked Jin Woo for a favor. The scene shifts again to Jin Woo meeting Song Yi, who is surprised to see him. He reveals that he's Jinna's brother, and Song Yi guesses that the teacher must have asked him to convince her to quit being a hunter. Song Yi refuses to give up hunting and go back to school. Jin Woo tells her she won't be able to make enough money as an E-rank hunter. While she made good money working with his assault team, that was an exception. She cuts him off, telling him to leave if he's just going to lecture her. She points out that Jin Woo is also an E-rank hunter, but Jin Woo clarifies that he's not here to persuade her to quit. Instead, he asks her to follow him. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jin Chul welcoming Hwang Dong-soo to Japan. Dong-soo is surprised to see the head of the Hunter Association himself waiting for him. Jin Chul doesn't waste time and asks how long Dong-soo plans to stay. Dong-soo reassures him it won't be long. Jin Chul, clearly skeptical, remarks that Dong-soo came back to the country he betrayed just to meet 2 specific people. Dong-soo corrects him, making it clear that he didn't return for them. Dong-soo tells Jin Chul that the surveillance team should turn a blind eye to whatever he does to Jin Woo and Jin Hoo inside the dungeon. He makes it clear that his first target is Jin Woo, followed by Jin Hoo. Dong-soo is confident Jin Chul won't be able to stop him, mocking his abilities, but Jin Chul, staying composed, reminds him that he's simply doing his job. Elsewhere, a monster is being unloaded from the helicopter that Guild Master Choi and his team used to reach Jeju Island. While Choi explains the situation to the Hunter Association chairman, he mentions that the monsters tried crossing the sea to the mainland, but their flight couldn't last long, and they ended up falling into the ocean. Choi warns that if left unchecked, they might eventually make it across. Gun-hee promises to do whatever it takes to stop that from happening. The scene shifts to Jin Woo meeting up with Sang-min. Sang-min is surprised to get a call from him, especially since Jin Woo rarely reaches out. He also notices that Song Yi is with Jin Woo. Jin Woo apologizes for the sudden request, but Sang-min brushes it off, saying it's no big deal. Sang-min is surprised when Jin Woo asks to observe their training. He explains that the gate they're working with is a level C, which recently appeared. Their conversation is interrupted by a loud, impatient man demanding that they start the raid. He grumbles about wasting time, saying they're not here for a picnic. Jin-woo looks at him curiously, and Sang-min introduces him as Kim Chul, a rank hunter who works as a tanker. Kim Chul is visibly annoyed, complaining about letting low ranks watch his raid. Sang-min explains to Jin-woo that this assault team is made up of 1 rank A, 5 rank B, and 2 rank C hunters. Including Jin-woo and Song-yi, there are 10 people in total. Jin-woo isn't thrilled about the group size. He brought Song-yi along to show her how tough dungeon raids can be, but it feels like this many people might water things down. Sang-min's assistant tells Jin-woo to stay on the sidelines and let the newer hunters take the lead. Jin-woo agrees and keeps his distance. The group enters the gate, but Jin-woo immediately senses something off. The gate behind them starts acting strange, shifting and turning red. Realizing what's happening, Jin-woo tries to escape, managing to squeeze his head out just enough to warn Sang-min to contact the assault team. Before he can get fully out, the gate pulls him back inside. Sang-min quickly contacts Yoon-ho, letting him know about the unexpected appearance of a red gate. Without hesitation, Yoon-ho heads their way. Meanwhile, inside the gate, Jin-woo and the team wake up in the middle of a vast snowfield. Everyone is stunned to realize the gate has disappeared, leaving them wondering how they're supposed to get out. Kim Chul steps up, explaining that this is a red gate. Song-yi, confused, asks what that means. Jin-woo breaks it down for her, explaining that unlike regular gates, red gates cut off all contact with the outside world. The only way out is to defeat the dungeon boss or wait for the dungeon to collapse. He adds that the outside world can't interfere, and the dungeon is filled with dangerous magic beasts. And suddenly, arrows rain down on them. One of their teammates is killed instantly, but Jin-woo reacts in time to catch an arrow aimed at Song-yi, saving her. The rest of the team notices and realizes they're surrounded by ice elves. Jin-woo sees that the elves are far away, which explains why he didn't sense them earlier. He also notices they specifically targeted the 2 weakest members of the group. He reflects that if this had happened 2 months ago, he would have been dead. The ice elves retreat for now, and Song-yi looks confused. Jin-woo explains that ice elves are brutal predators, often referred to by hunters as ice slayers. Kim Chul takes control, addressing the group. He reminds them that no help is coming and says if they want to survive, they'll have to follow his lead. He announces that the group will split into 2 teams, claiming it's the best way to ensure more of them make it out alive. He warns that staying in this freezing environment is a death sentence and offers survival to anyone who joins his group. Most of the group agrees to follow Kim Chul, but he quickly singles out the weaker members, telling them they can't come. Then he explains that 1 day inside the dungeon is equal to an hour outside, and it could take months to defeat the boss or wait for the dungeon to collapse. Kim Chul bluntly says he won't carry dead weight, promising to come back for the weaker ones after the boss is taken down. One of the girls in the group decides she'd rather stick with Jin-woo. Kim Chul scoffs at her decision, calling it foolish. But she quietly tells Jin-woo she's certain Kim Chul didn't notice the arrow earlier. Then she whispers that there's no way Jin-woo is just an E-rank hunter. She believes that Jin-woo's not an E-rank and thinks he might even be a rank or higher. Kim Chul announces that his group will take the main road, so Jin-woo offers to lead his team into the forest instead. After some time, Kim Chul's group notices deep claw marks on the trees. He explains that they have entered ice bear territory and predicts that the E-ranks in Jin-woo's group will not survive. Moments later, they sense movement and realize they are surrounded by ice bears. One of the bears charges, but Kim Chul blocks it with his shield and cuts it down with his axe. Without hesitation, he moves to engage the other bears as well. Meanwhile, the girl in Jin-woo's group spots claw marks and stops the team. She warns them that they've entered ice bear territory and urges them to turn back before encountering the beasts. Jin-woo, however, suggests going deeper. He explains that if this is ice bear territory, they'll only have to deal with the bears, which are weaker than the elves. The girl realizes he's right, no other magical beasts would dare come near because of the bear's presence. As they move forward, Jin-woo notices the temperature dropping. He takes coats from his inventory and hands them out to the group. Everyone is shocked to see him using summoning magic. They put on the coats, finding them warm and comfortable. Song-yi asks Jin-woo who he really is, but he brushes off the question, saying his only job is to protect her since he brought her here. He asks her not to push for answers and hopes the others will do the same. Suddenly, an ice bear appears. Jin-woo doesn't hesitate, he changes his title to Wolf Assassin and prepares to fight. Outside the gate, Yunho observes the situation, convinced the red gate is a death trap for anyone but high-ranking hunters. Sang-min informs him that aside from the assault team, another individual entered the gate, Sung Jin-woo. Yunho asks about Jin-woo's rank, and Sang-min says he's officially listed as E rank, but suspects he may have reawakened, though Jin-woo hasn't confirmed this. Yunho doesn't seem optimistic about Jin-woo's chances, but just then, Dong-soo arrives with Jin-chul. Yunho, clearly irritated, asks why Dong-soo is here when he was supposed to be in America. Dong-soo avoids answering, instead questioning why an E-rank hunter was allowed to enter such a dangerous gate, especially when he isn't even part of their guild. Dong-soo clarifies that he's talking about Jin-woo, which makes Yunho curious about how Dong-soo knows him. Dong-soo looks at the red gate in front of him, disappointed. He figures he might not even get to meet Jin-woo, assuming he's going to die inside the gate. Jin-chul, standing nearby, thinks Jin-woo is lucky in a way. At least he doesn't have to face Dong-soo right now. Still, he's unsure if Jin-woo can make it out of the red gate alive. Meanwhile, inside the gate, Jin-woo finishes off the last of the ice bears and levels up in the process. His team, watching from the sidelines, wonders who he really is, but Jin-woo stays quiet. Later, everyone sits around eating bear meat, marveling at how Jin-woo managed to take down all those bears by himself. Then the girl warns them not to let their guard down, reminding them that the monster's lair must be nearby. Song-yi, noticing Jin-woo heading out for exercise after dinner, is surprised, but she can't believe he's training after fighting so many monsters. Then she comments on how strange he is, and the others agree. Elsewhere, Jin-woo stands outside the ice bear's lair. Then he summons his shadow army to test their strength. The shadows attack the bears, cutting them down with ease. Some of the bears manage to tear apart parts of the shadow army, but the shadows regenerate quickly, drawing mana from Jin-woo. The mages in his army provide support, and Jin-woo observes that the shadows are performing better than expected, though they're draining his mana faster than he'd like. But suddenly, the ice bear boss appears and attacks with overwhelming force, wiping out Jin-woo's entire shadow army in a single powerful move. His mana is nearly drained, leaving him unable to summon reinforcements. With no other option, Jin-woo summons Igris. The bear charges at Igris, but he dodges and counters with precision, slicing the bear and forcing it to its knees. The beast makes a final attempt to attack, but Igris beheads it before it can get close. Jin-woo watches in awe, thinking that if Igris had used his sword in their fight, he probably would have lost. Even now, Igris might still be stronger than him. Then he compliments Igris for a job well done. The scene shifts to Kim-chul's party, now in the middle of a fight with elves. Everyone except Kim-chul is dead. He's in shock, and unable to believe how badly things have gone. Kim-chul reflects on how close he was to becoming an elite member of the White Tiger Guild. However, as he watches the elves closing in, along with the last survivor of his party, panic takes over, and he turns to flee. Jin-woo stands tall over the lifeless death bears, flexing his insane necromancer skills when he commands them to rise. Their shadows emerge from the corpses, joining his growing army of shadows. Outside the portal, Sang-min explains that the strike force has been trapped for 3 hours, which translates to about 3 days on the inside. Red gates are no joke, so Dong-soo assumes Jin-woo is already a goner and starts preparing to leave. But then he stops, demanding to know why Jin-woo was hanging around with the White Tiger Guild. Sang-min calmly replies that Jin-woo was just an acquaintance who wanted to check out a C-rank mission. Sang-min feels some relief when Dong-soo seems to accept this answer. But then Dong-soo shocks everyone by getting in Sang-min's face. He's not buying it. Dong-soo knows Sang-min has a knack for spotting fresh talent. Meanwhile, Yunho steps in transformed and serious, telling Dong-soo to chill. That only gets Dong-soo angrier, and he mocks Yunho, calling him a big fish in a small pond. Tensions rise, and the two unleash some of their power, shaking the area. The bystanders are terrified, knowing an S-rank fight could destroy everything around them. Despite the warnings, the two charge at each other anyway. In the same time, inside the portal, Kim-chul is relieved after barely escaping the elves. But his relief doesn't last. He stumbles upon the shredded remains of the powerful death bears. The sight is horrifying, and he can't believe the E-ranks he abandoned could have done this. As fear creeps in, he wonders if the Ice Slayers could be responsible and flees into the forest. Meanwhile, outside the gate, Dong-soo watches in awe as Jin-chul somehow manages to stop the brewing S-rank battle. Jin-chul humbly explains that he's only intact because the two hunters held back at the last moment. Dong-soo stays impressed but skeptical, clearly digging for something deeper. Jin Chul clarifies to Dong-su that he reassessed Jin Woo's rank 2 months ago, and he's confident the kid is just an E rank. To add more fuel, the surveillance team concluded that Dong-su's brother was killed by a magic beast. The place falls into an uneasy silence as Dong-su processes the report, but it's clear the tension isn't going away anytime soon. Dong-su knows the official story is just for show, and he figures if Jin Woo didn't kill his brother, then it must have been you, the rich kid. Jin Chul asks why he's still after Jin Woo, and Dong-su keeps it simple: Jin Woo's an accomplice. Before things can escalate, Dong-su gets called away. As he leaves, he mutters that Jin Woo is lucky. Sang-min watches him go, thinking how nobody really gets Jin Woo's power like he does. Sang-min is confident that Jin Woo will make it out of the Red Gate. Meanwhile, inside the gate, Jin Woo's group is resting by a fire when Kim Chul stumbles across them. He's furious to see them alive and thriving with weather gear, blankets, and food. Kim Chul confronts them, screaming that his team died because they had nothing. He blames them for hoarding supplies, calling them out for his dead teammates. Kim Chul pieces together that Park must have joined their group because she knew they had gear all along. Furious, he demands that whoever is responsible confess, counting down from 3. When nobody steps forward, Kim Chul screams Jin Woo's name, already convinced he's the one. Then he charges at the group, intent on taking them all out. But before he can strike, Jin Woo appears out of nowhere and absolutely crushes him. Everyone is stunned to see their leader back. Jin Woo glares at Kim Chul, disgusted that he's blaming others for his failures, but that wasn't Kim Chul's only mistake. Jin Woo senses even more trouble approaching. Turning to the shadows, Jin Woo calls out to the lurkers, telling them their aura is way too strong to hide. The ice elves, startled, drop their stealth and reveal themselves. Their leader steps forward, surprised to see a human with real strength. The leader tries to provoke Jin Woo, but everyone is stunned when Jin Woo fires back in the language of the magic beasts. Jin Woo himself is surprised, but he figures his cheat system must be helping him out. The elven leader explains why they're there. One of his men sensed Jin Woo's power when he stopped the arrow earlier, so the elves are eager to test him. But before the leader can finish his speech, Jin Woo makes his move. With a single lightning-fast strike, he chops off the head of the first challenger, silencing the wind. The boss is laughing his head off, but Jin Woo isn't smiling. Then he steps right up and swings at the boss, but the boss blocks it without a hitch, and Jin Woo knows this dude won't go down easy. The boss keeps grinning and cracks a joke about Jin Woo not being human, wondering why he's even pretending. Jin Woo doesn't understand what the guy is talking about. The boss starts laughing again, saying Jin Woo clearly doesn't know what's going on. Turns out, elves hear some voice in their heads telling them to take out humans. But when it comes to Jin Woo, we hear nothing because you're not a human. Jin Woo starts putting it together. This could be tied to his system. Maybe the voice ignores him because he's the player. The boss, acting all calm, tells Jin Woo to hand over the humans to avoid trouble. Jin Woo wants answers. Then he asks what their issue with humans is in the first place. The boss starts explaining, but suddenly his body glitches like a bad signal, and he repeats himself without even realizing it. Something isn't right. Jin Woo refuses, so the boss asks if Jin Woo really wants to go against them, warning him they've got the numbers to back it up. Jin Woo doesn't flinch. He summons his shadow army, leaving everyone stunned. The boss thinks it's some kind of trick, but Jin Woo is done talking, ready to throw down, and the boss steps up. The fight explodes, blades clash, arrows fly, and blood spills everywhere. The members of the group try to escape, but the archers lock onto them. Jin Woo jumps in, showing off his incredible skills, and takes them out without hesitation. Still, he starts seeing why the boss feels so confident. These elves hit hard, way harder than expected. Jin Woo's army is immortal, but keeping them up drains magic. He's got a lot of it, but even that won't last forever. On top of that, the boss is stronger than him by a mile. The boss charges straight at Jin Woo. Jin Woo figures out that even if he fights alongside Igris, this guy is still too much to handle and everything is stacked against him. His regular soldiers won't cut it, so Jin Woo knows he needs stronger reinforcements to win this battle. The boss finally gives his name Barca and Jin Woo responds with his own name, ready to go all in. The two warriors rush each other and Barca comes in strong, showing he's got the upper hand. He's feeling good about it, but Jin Woo flips the script, teleporting his blade to the other hand. They dodge each other's strikes by a hair, but in the end Jin Woo gets knocked back. Barca's hyped he hasn't had a fight this good in ages, but Jin Woo isn't done yet. With a sly grin, Jin Woo catches him off guard as a massive meteor comes crashing down on him. Nearby, Kim Chul wakes up, dazed and barely remembering the beating he took. Anger flares up and he grabs his sword, cursing Jin Woo under his breath. Jin Woo's magic soldiers bought him some time, but Barca isn't impressed and comes in swinging again. That's when Jin Woo catches Kim Chul creeping up from behind. Jin Woo already saw this coming, so he has Igris throw down a smokescreen. In the haze, Jin Woo and Igris make their move and end Kim Chul's life. As Kim Chul realizes Jin Woo played him from the start, his shock is written all over his face. With Kim Chul out of the way, Jin Woo commands him to rise, and light bursts from his lifeless body. Barca's still charging, shouting that hiding won't save Jin Woo. His confidence takes a hit when a new soldier steps out and forces him back. Jin Woo introduces his latest recruit, Iron, who roars like a beast ready to throw down. Barca doesn't back down and jumps into the fight, but after a few exchanges, he picks up on Iron's lack of speed. Nearby, Song Yi watches everything go down, wondering if all hunter battles are this insane. The others shake their heads, saying they've never seen anything like this in their lives. Barca eventually decides Iron isn't enough of a challenge and calls Jin Woo and his knight to join the fight. Jin Woo's all for it, and the 3-on-1 showdown kicks off. At the same moment, Barca proves he's no joke, holding his own against all of them, but Iron's constant screaming starts to get under his skin. Then Barca decides Iron's gotta go first, but Iron's built like a fortress. Barca's confidence keeps climbing as he dodges Igris's attacks with ease. That confidence doesn't last long, though Jin Woo lands a hit, stabbing him clean. Even so, Jin Woo can't help but respect Barca's skill, noticing how the elf avoided a killing blow, even with chaos all around him. Barca hates being disrespected, but Jin Woo gives him props for holding out this long. Jin Woo shows some respect, but he's also curious about how his shadow army's doing. That's when Barca realizes something's up, so he looks over at the battlefield and sees his entire clan wiped out. Even with that, Barca doesn't panic. He's sure that if he takes Jin Woo out, the army will crumble. But while he's scheming, Jin Woo throws his dagger. Barca dodges and starts clowning him, calling him a fool for tossing his weapon away. But Barca doesn't know Jin Woo like that. With a flick of his will, Jin Woo calls the dagger right back. Barca barely blocks it, but the move destroys his weapon. That's when Jin Woo sends Iron in to pin Barca down. So with Barca locked up, Jin Woo gives the green light for his magic soldiers to unload a massive fire attack. But Barca's not done yet. He breaks free, slicing through Iron and swearing to wipe out every human. Before he can make good on his threat, Jin Woo shuts him down, telling him the fight's over. Barca's still stubborn, says it's not over until he decides. But too bad for him, Iron regenerates and crushes him for good. Jin Woo lays it out, Barca's done for. At the same time, ground starts shaking, but it's just Iron making sure the job's finished. Jin Woo pulls Iron back, reminding him to keep it in check. He doesn't want this kind of behavior becoming a thing. The group breathes a sigh of relief, happy the fight's over, and Jin Woo, cool as ever, tells them it's time to head out. While they're relieved, Jin Woo's still got business. He takes a moment to look at Barca's lifeless body. Meanwhile, outside, Sang Min mentions that Yoon Ho can go home now. A week has passed inside the portal, and Yoon Ho's been stressing about what might have happened. Even so, he refuses to leave. Then out of nowhere, people start coming out of the portal. Yoon Ho's sure it's Kim Chul since he believed his guild member could handle things. But he's dead wrong. Instead, Sang Min turns out to be the one who's right. Jin Woo steps out, calm and collected, as the gate closes behind him. Yoon Ho, confused and worried, starts asking about Kim Chul. When he finds out the truth that only the low-ranked hunter made it out, he's left wondering what really went down in there. Yoon Ho wants to grill Jin Woo, but Jin Woo's completely drained and tells him to save it for someone in his guild. Yoon Ho's stunned, not believing what he just heard. This wasn't a request or a favor, it was an order, maybe even a threat if Jin Woo didn't comply. Yoon Ho steps up his tone, reminding Jin Woo that 6 of his guild members are missing, and it's his job to find out what went down. Jin Woo doesn't flinch. Instead, he throws it back, pointing out that he's the one who saved the only 2 survivors. That means Yoon Ho owes him some gratitude too. Things get tense, but Yoon Ho backs off, realizing Jin Woo's got a point. He apologizes, and Jin Woo takes Song Yi home. Afterward, Yoon Ho asks Park who Jin Woo is and wonders why he seemed so mad. Park explains that Jin Woo's mood only shifted after beating the boss. Sang Min guesses it's probably exhaustion since Jin Woo's usually pretty chill. Yoon Ho, intrigued by Jin Woo, tells Sang Min to do whatever it takes to bring him into their guild. Later, Jin Woo drops Song Yi off. She thanks him for everything and says she's looking forward to the next time they meet. On his way home, Jin Woo reflects on the day, realizing it hasn't even been 24 hours since they got trapped. He's frustrated that all he got for his trouble was a single dagger and figures Barca must have been too high level. Looking back, Jin-woo remembers trying to make an immortal soldier out of Barca. He had 3 chances to extract him but failed every time. At least he got iron out of the deal, but it weighs on him that this was the 3rd time he had to take human lives. The next day, Yu meets up with Jin-woo, but Jin-woo's thrown off by Yu's outfit. They're heading out on a mission, but Jin-woo tells Yu they need to pick someone up first. That someone ends up being Song-yi, and Yu is shocked by how casual Jin-woo and Song-yi are with each other. Jin-woo checks in with Song-yi, asking if she managed to get any sleep, but Yu takes it the wrong way. Worried, Yu reminds Jin-woo that Song-yi is underage. Jin-woo, completely unbothered, knows there's nothing shady going on, but Yu keeps jumping to the wrong conclusions. Some time later, Yu watches in total amazement as Jin-woo's soldiers take down a pack of powerful beasts like it's nothing. Yu has no clue where these soldiers came from, and Jin-woo realizes he's never explained it. He tells Yu they're part of one of his skills, leaving Yu speechless. He never imagined this kind of insane power was even possible. With the battle over, Jin-woo orders his army to start mining the area for crystals. Yu looks defeated since he knows he can't compete with Jin-woo's army. He asks Jin-woo if he can at least have the essence stones. Jin-woo isn't selfish, so one of his soldiers steps up and offers to share. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a man is standing in the middle of a wrecked ship. A soldier is begging for his life, but the man tells him to calm down. The soldier doesn't understand him though because they don't speak the same language. The man switches to some broken English, explaining that he's human and just wants to go home. Back with Jin-woo, he and Yu are celebrating after wrapping up the 19 raids they agreed on. Yu's next step is to pass the written exam at the association to get his guildmaster's license. Once that's done, he can finally start negotiating with his father. Jin-woo, on the other hand, has plans to travel for a bit. Yu assumes Jin-woo is trying to avoid him, but Jin-woo laughs it off, saying he's just drunk. Yu, feeling rejected, opens up about how he's used to being pushed away. His older brother, who's 10 years older, has never liked him. They never had any kind of brotherly bond. Jin-woo though has done so much to help him. Yu wishes Jin-woo could have been his brother instead. Seeing how much Yu is hurting, Jin-woo tells him that from now on, he'll consider Yu his little brother. Elsewhere, the mysterious man from the ship has been restrained. Investigators are trying to figure out where he came from. He claims to be a foreign hunter who got trapped in a gate 10 years ago and couldn't escape. He says he finally found an exit that brought him to a gate in America. The investigators are suspicious, worried he might be a humanoid magic beast. To be sure, they've called in an S-rank hunter named Dong-soo to do the questioning. For now, all they know about the guy is his name Il-F-Wan-sung. Later, Jin-woo tells his sister he'll be traveling for a week. She comments on how busy he's been lately and asks who he's going with. Annoyed by the question, Jin-woo brushes it off, saying he's going with a friend. Jin-woo heads back to the entrance of the demon castle. He remembers the last time he was here he was only level 20 and barely made it out alive after fighting Cerberus. Now his level is 3 times higher, so he figures this challenge should go a lot smoother. Using the key from his system, Jin-woo steps inside, going over the quest objectives in his head. The castle is crawling with demons, and his job is to gather their souls. But when the quest updates, Jin-woo is floored. It says he needs to collect 10,000 demon souls. He can't even believe there are that many demons packed into this place. Still, Jin-woo stays focused on his real goal, getting the ingredients for the elixir of life. No matter how many demons he has to fight, nothing will stop him from finishing this quest. Meanwhile, Yu is having a serious talk with his father. He tells him he wants to take over the guild, fully aware that his older brother is planning to do the same. Yu doesn't agree with his brother's approach though. He's convinced his brother is going to bring in some outsider to run things, and he thinks that's way too risky for the company. But Han seems more worried about Yu's choice of friends. Specifically, he's talking about Jin-woo. Han points out that Jin-woo has been involved in 3 major, mysterious and highly controversial events. First, there was the double dungeon. Then, there was the raid where Dong-suk's entire team got wiped out. Finally, there was the surveillance hunter who murdered a group of convicts. Jin-woo wasn't just present at all of these events, he managed to survive them all somehow. On top of that, Jin-woo was also involved in the Red Gate incident, where he led the survivors to safety. And now, he helped Yu clear the 19 raids needed to become a master hunter. Han isn't thrilled about all this. He feels insulted that Yu leaned on someone like Jin-woo to gain control of the guild. Yu admits he didn't handle things perfectly, but he still believes he knows what's best for the guild. That's when Han shocks him by agreeing to let you take charge, but only under one condition. Han says the White Tigers Guild has been eyeing Jin Woo ever since the Red Gate incident. Jin Woo is clearly someone important, and Han wants him in their guild instead. He asks if you can make it happen, and Yu promises that he will. Back in the demon castle, Jin Woo is frustrated, realizes he can't extract the demons to add to his army, and has no idea why. He's already taken down a whole bunch of them, but it feels like all that effort might have been for nothing. Suddenly, Jin Woo gets an entry permit for the next floor. A beam of light shows him the way. As he follows it, he's still trying to wrap his head around how massive this dungeon is. It's like a whole city packed into one building, and all the walking is starting to wear him out. Good thing Jin Woo doesn't have to walk the whole way. He summons the bear leader to carry him. He runs into a swarm of demons blocking the path, but that's no problem for his beast. The bear charges straight through them like they're nothing, so Jin Woo decides to name him Tank. Meanwhile, a group of girls is hyped as they admire Chahi. While they talk, Chahi remembers her conversation with Mr. Choi. He decided to keep the reports about the flying ants under wraps, but Chahi thinks they should let the public know. Mr. Choi explained his reasoning: it would only spark panic. Instead, they should focus on strengthening their organization. As the biggest guild in the country, getting stronger is the best move for their future. Back with Jin Woo, he's cutting through more demons. At first, he worried this might be an S-rank dungeon when he got the key, but the demons are closer to high-level B rank. There's a ton of them though, and they keep getting tougher the higher he climbs. By only killing the demons needed to pass each floor, Jin Woo has made steady progress. He figures this castle has 100 floors, just like the tower, and wonders how strong he'll be by the time he reaches the top. When he hits 4,000 souls collected, Jin Woo reminds himself to keep an eye on his supplies. He's also racing against time, needing to keep his promise to Jinna that he'll only be gone for 1 week. Finally, he reaches the 10,000 mark of souls collected and starts thinking about how far he can go. That's when he runs into a group of powerful monsters. The leader has its name displayed in red, which means one thing: this is a serious threat. Its name is Vulcan, and it's the boss of the lower floors. Elsewhere, Sang is searching for Jin Woo, but his sister told him he's away on a trip. There's no record of him being on a raid or leaving the country. The association's last trace of him is right in the middle of a city, and now they can only guess where he is. Back inside the dungeon, Jin Woo sizes up Vulcan. He tells his army to handle the smaller demons while he takes on the boss. His soldiers leap into action, cutting down the demons with ease. Jin Woo's progress in his intellect ability means he can summon more soldiers and maintain them longer. The extra magic power has made fighting much easier. As he watches his army do their thing, Jin Woo locks eyes on the boss demon. Vulcan hasn't moved yet, so Jin Woo assumes it's just sitting there waiting. But the second Jin Woo drops his guard, Vulcan explodes into action, moving with incredible speed to attack. Jin Woo is stunned. It was way faster than he expected. Jin Woo moves with insane speed, dodging the attack and firing back with a counter that lands hard. His punch sends the giant boss flying, and even Jin Woo is shocked. All he did was throw a punch, so now he's wondering if he leveled up his strength. But Vulcan is far from done. The beast lets out a thunderous roar, shifting into what looks like another mode. It reminds Jin Woo of what happened with Cerberus. The beast comes charging again way faster than before, and Jin Woo calls for Iron. Immediately Iron tosses him a shield just in time. Jin Woo blocks the attack, but Vulcan keeps throwing punches in a relentless barrage. The flurry is intense, and Jin Woo can't believe how something this massive is moving so fast. Finally, he spots an opening and maneuvers to the back of the beast, but he's stunned to realize Vulcan is anticipating his moves. This thing is a straight-up monster, and the only weak spot Jin Woo can see are its small beady eyes. Thinking fast, Jin Woo starts running, knowing he needs to stop Vulcan from zipping around. He spots a building that's perfect for his plan and takes off toward it. Vulcan, too focused on chasing him, smashes straight into the structure. With the beast pinned and unable to move, Jin Woo summons his weapon and slices clean through Vulcan's neck. The Lord of the Lower Floors is defeated, and Jin Woo receives an item called the World Tree Fragment. Meanwhile, F1 is being interrogated by Dong Su. Dong Su has heard rumors that F1 is a talking magic beast, but F1 denies it. He even agrees to let them run any tests they want, including DNA. But Dong Su is not in the mood for conversation. He orders F1 to stay quiet unless spoken to. Dong Su, clearly annoyed, glances over F1's paperwork. F1 tries to ask a question anyway, wondering what humanity has learned about gates and magic beasts. Dong Su brushes him off, saying he has no idea what F1 is talking about. F1 presses on, explaining that the dungeons, the gates, and the beasts are only the beginning. He warns that a power capable of triggering an ultimate catastrophe has already awakened. F1, who has lost his sight, reveals his goal is to stop this disaster before it's too late. Dong-su has had enough of the rant. He reminds F1 that millions of hunters exist across the globe, and if they combine their strength, they can take on any threat. F1, however, drops a chilling truth. Numbers won't matter against the threat he's talking about. Instead, those hunters will be devoured and turned into weapons for their enemy. Dong-su, frustrated and confused, shifts the topic, wondering how a magic beast could have a wife and 2 kids. Curious, he asks F1 for his son's name. He looks at him calmly and says, "His name is Jinwoo." Dong-su gets a twisted sense of joy hearing this and tells F1 that his son is already dead. He refuses to answer any of F1's questions and coldly tells him to save them for when they meet in hell. As he makes this threat, Dong-su lets some of his power flare up, but F1's eyes turn murderous, showing he is not intimidated in the slightest. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon, Jinwoo's army is tearing through another wave of demons. Jinwoo speaks to the demon leader, pointing out how one-sided things are getting. He wonders if the demon is stunned by how unstoppable his shadow soldiers are. It becomes clear to Jinwoo that even the undead can feel fear. Without hesitation, he slices the leader's head clean off. A notification pops up, revealing that he just defeated Metis, the guider of souls, and his level has gone up again. Outside the dungeon, part of the city lies in ruins after a major disaster. An investigator explains that when S-rank hunters clash, it's like the whole landscape shifts, leaving destruction everywhere. Despite the damage, the investigator notes that things could have been much worse. The fight was over so quickly it barely had time to spread further. He stares at the aftermath, stunned by how fast Dong-su was completely defeated. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo realizes he's run out of food, meaning this is as far as he can go for now. He's reached floor 75, with 25 floors likely left. That is still a long climb, but the rewards so far have been worth it. From the skeleton he just defeated, he got a necklace. From the beast on floor 50, he picked up an earring. Both items are useful on their own, but together they unlock a set bonus that boosts all his stats by 5 points. There is 1 spot left in the set, which means another boss-level beast is waiting for him. Jinwoo also received something called the Sphere of Avaricious. It is not useful for him directly, but it doubles the firepower of magic soldiers, making it a valuable addition. Finally, he earned the option to pick the cursed random loot box. Jinwoo had worried he would not get another shot at the box, so he is relieved to receive a second key. Unfortunately, the key comes with no details, so he has no idea when or where to use it. Jinwoo shakes off the distraction, reminding himself of his real mission, the ingredients for the elixir of life. He already got the world tree fragment from Vulcan and the spring water from Echo Forest after defeating Metis. That makes 2 out of the 3 ingredients he needs. Only 1 ingredient remains before he can save his dying mother. Jinwoo vows that the next time he steps into this dungeon, he is finishing the job. After Jinwoo exits the instance dungeon, he starts thinking about the next step. The only thing left for him is the purified Demon King's blood. He knows it's going to take everything he's got to get it, so he plans to be fully prepared. Looking at his stats, he notices how much his level has jumped after his recent journey. The issue though is that he's still ranked as an E-rank hunter. Even though he can keep leveling up, his current rank won't let him participate in high-level raids. That's when Jinwoo decides it's time to drop the act and show the world what he's really made of by getting his rank reassessed. The next day, Jinwoo heads to the assessment center. Meanwhile, Kichul, Sang's right-hand man, is also at the center scouting hunters. He casually sizes up the other hunters, predicting their ranks when his eyes land on Jinwoo. Shocked to see him there, Kichul quickly calls Yunho, letting him know Jinwoo is getting his rank reassessed. Without hesitation, Yunho drops everything and heads to the center. While Jinwoo waits for his turn, he overhears 2 hunters talking. One of them reassures the other not to stress too much, saying the test is straightforward. The nervous guy reveals his problem. He needs to make money as a hunter, or his wife and daughter are leaving him. The other hunter encourages him, saying as long as he ranks above E, he'll be fine. He even points to the recruiters, explaining how they're eager to offer contracts to anyone ranked higher than E. Jinwoo quietly reflects on how E-rank hunters have always been overlooked. Then his name gets called for the test. Inside, the examiner notes that he's here for a reassessment and assumes he knows the procedure. She asks him to place his hand on the black crystal. Jinwoo does what she says, but her expression changes when the machine displays an error. Thinking it's a fluke, she has him try again. When the same error pops up repeatedly, her superior steps in. He tests the crystal himself and the error appears yet again. After inspecting the machine, he realizes this isn't a malfunction. The crystal can't evaluate Jin Woo's magical power because it's off the charts. The examiner is stunned as the superior announces that Jin Woo has surpassed the machine's limits. That's when they both realize they're looking at the country's newest S-rank hunter. Meanwhile, outside the evaluation center, Mr. Choi asks Jin Chul how the investigation on the winged ants is going. Jin Chul explains the department has been dissecting samples comparing them to older ones. Progress is being made, but it will still take time to get solid answers. Mr. Choi nods before bringing up the Red Gate incident, saying he heard about the White Tiger Guild letting someone outside the guild join their raid, claiming this person even took down the boss. He asks Jin Chul who this person is, but Jin Chul admits he doesn't know. Turns out he was there during the raid but left before it ended. As they talk, Mr. Choi notices some sort of commotion inside the building. They both step inside to figure out what's going on. Word is spreading fast. Jin Woo's magic is so strong the machine couldn't read it. Everyone's amazed, whispering that something like this has never happened before. The examiner tells Jin Woo he has to return in 3 days so they can use a stronger machine to evaluate him. Kitchell watches from a distance, realizing Sang was right about Jin Woo being special. He knows it's time to approach Jin Woo and strike up a conversation. Just then, Mr. Choi and Jin Chul enter the scene. Jin Woo recognizes Mr. Choi as the ultimate hunter, one of the strongest fire mages out there. Mr. Choi notices Jin Woo's intense aura, understanding that he's the cause of all the attention. Planning to recruit Jin Woo, Mr. Choi starts walking toward him, but Jin Woo doesn't even stop to listen. He walks right past Choi without hesitation. The entire room goes silent. Mr. Choi, stunned, turns to Jin Chul asking if he was properly introduced earlier. Jin Chul confirms he was, but Jin Woo simply ignored it. By the time they look again, Jin Woo has completely disappeared. They figure he's an assassin type since he moves so quietly. Moments later, Yoon-ho rushes into the center, clearly out of breath. Seeing him arrive in such a hurry, Mr. Choi pieces everything together, realizing Jin Woo must be the hunter who cleared the Red Gate. Mr. Choi becomes certain that Jin Woo is an extraordinary talent. Without sticking around any longer, Mr. Choi leaves, while Yoon-ho is left overwhelmed, knowing the one person he didn't want finding out about Jin Woo now knows. At night, Jin Woo sits quietly beside his mom's bed watching her sleep. Before leaving, he tells her to hang in there a little longer. Stepping outside, he runs into Jin Chul, who's waiting for him. Jin Chul admits that Jin Woo proved him wrong. He explains how the surveillance team's job is to keep tabs on hunters and deal with those who break the law. He used to think he was great at reading people, but Jin Woo shattered that confidence. As Jin Woo heads for the exit, he asks if the surveillance team is keeping an eye on him too. Jin Chul clarifies they're not monitoring him as a criminal. He explains that the surveillance team has authority over most hunters, but S-rank hunters are a different story. Nobody can really control them. Jin Woo keeps walking, but Jin Chul stops him, saying someone wants to meet him. Gun Hee, the chairman of the Hunter Association, steps forward, introducing himself and asking for a chat. They sit down and Gun Hee congratulates Jin Woo on becoming an S-rank hunter. Jin Woo looks confused, but Gun Hee explains that the reassessment was just a formality. The moment the machine couldn't read Jin Woo's power, he was already classified as S-rank. Jin Woo asks why the reassessment was even necessary, and Gun Hee reveals it was a grace period. It gave the association a chance to talk to him before anyone else. Gun Hee shares that while the association has many hunters, only a few are exceptional. Most elite hunters join guilds to chase fame or money. He points out that even someone as skilled as Jin Chul, one of their best, is only ranked A. The association desperately needs someone stronger. Gun Hee gets straight to the point, asking Jin Woo to join the Hunter Association. He promises to give him the most important role within their ranks. He explains that hunters, not the government, hold real power in the country now. At the center of everything are the 5 major guilds, which barely keep a fragile balance. If Jin Woo were to join one of those guilds, it could completely upset that balance. Gun Hee proposes something bold. He wants Jin Woo to join the association and help make it the 6th major power, strong enough to keep the guilds in check. He lays it all out and asks Jin Woo what he thinks. Jin Woo takes a moment to seriously consider the offer, realizing it might be a rare opportunity. Jin Woo notices Gun Hee's incredible presence. He's not just a strong hunter, he's the first S-rank hunter in the country. The guy's got insane power and a physique that makes it hard to believe he's over 80. Even though Gun Hee stepped away from the front lines, Jin Woo can tell the man's strength is still on par with his own. Jin Woo knows that accepting this invitation could change his life for the better, but he turns it down anyway. Gun-hee assumes Jin-woo's decision is about chasing money like most hunters, but Jin-woo surprises him by saying he craves the thrill of battle. He admits that the dungeon feels like home to him. Hearing those words, Gun-hee's heart skips a beat. He hasn't felt this excited in years and thinks to himself that if he were a decade younger, he'd want to fight alongside Jin-woo. Respecting Jin-woo's choice, Gun-hee doesn't push the matter, and Jin-woo heads out. After Jin-woo leaves, Gun-hee sighs, admitting to himself that even S-rank healers can't turn back the clock on aging. He tells Jin-chul to cancel all his appointments for the day because he needs some time to himself. Meanwhile, Jin-woo is determined. He knows he has to get stronger as fast as possible so he can save his mom. He doesn't have the luxury to waste time sitting around. Over in America, Dong-soo is lying in a hospital bed, finally awake. The deputy director shows up to question him about F1. He asks if F1 is really a magical beast. Dong-soo, still bitter and angry, tells him that whatever power F1 used definitely wasn't human. He's convinced F1 is some kind of magic beast. The deputy director accepts his answer and turns to leave, but Dong-soo stops him, asking what the administration plans to do about F1. The deputy admits they're tracking him, but after what happened to Dong-soo, they're not confident they can catch him. As the director leaves, Dong-soo sits stewing in his anger, replaying F1's warning in his head. F1 had told him to stay away from his family, promising to make his life hell if he didn't. Dong-soo clenches his fists, thinking about how humiliating it all was. He knows he'll need something powerful to take F1 down, a strong artifact. It's explained that artifacts are top-tier equipment in the hunter's world, the kind of relics so rare and complex that even the best craftsmen struggle to make them. We then notice Jin-woo scrolling through an online auction site, checking out some artifacts, but nothing's catching his eye. Everything's either trash or way overpriced. He's thinking about how he needs to gear up properly before taking on the Demon Castle, but the options out there aren't cutting it. He glances at his Sphere of Avaricious, which can double the damage from magic, and starts sizing it up. He knows there are plenty of items on the market that can boost magic damage by 20 or 30%, but nothing comes close to doubling it like his sphere does. If he put it up for sale, it'd go for a crazy high price, but then people would start asking questions about where an E-rank hunter like him got something that powerful. He figures that if he'd had a record of completing a rank raid, he could have explained it, but being E-rank, he can't even get into those raids. While he's thinking this over, he spots a job listing from the Hunters Guild online. They're looking for miners for a big expedition, and there's no rank requirement. That catches his attention. At the same time, Gun-hee is flipping through files on Jin-woo. He notices how much Jin-woo has changed in the last 4 months. He wonders if Jin-woo might be a false ranker, but Jin-chul sets him straight. He explains that Jin-woo's been injured plenty of times in low-rank dungeons, so that rules out any false ranker rumors. Jin-chul also shares that Jin-woo became a hunter to support his sick mom and pay for his sister's school. Gun-hee's impressed by how much he's sacrificing for his family. Then Jin-chul drops another piece of news: Jin-woo has signed up for the Hunters Guild's raid mission. Gun-hee isn't thrilled, thinking Jin-woo probably couldn't resist the sign-up bonus. But Jin-chul surprises him again, revealing that Jin-woo didn't join the assault team, he signed up for the mining crew. Now Gun-hee's stumped, wondering what Jin-woo's planning. Meanwhile, Jin-woo shows up at the gate site and gets accepted as a miner thanks to his strength as a combat-type hunter. He explains how big gates, especially rank A1's, work. You need a ton of people to handle them. Assault teams to take down the monsters, mining teams to gather mana stones, and recovery teams to collect the monster corpses. Since this many people are involved, the rewards are massive. Inside the dungeon, the action's heating up. Guildmaster Mr. Choi is out there soloing monsters with his fire magic. His flames torch the creatures while the tanks shield him and the rest of the team from the blowback. The monsters are toast literally, but Mr. Choi doesn't stop. He keeps pushing forward, ready to take down whatever's next. Not long after, the assault team rolls out of the dungeon, and Jin-woo figures they must have taken out every monster except for the boss so the gate doesn't shut. He's thinking Mr. Choi has to be crazy strong to lead a team out of a gate without breaking a sweat. The miners start chatting about the second in command of the Hunters Guild, and that's when Cha-hee steps out of the gate. Jin-woo checks her out, sizing up her aura, and it's clear she's no lightweight. For a second, Cha-hee picks up on a powerful presence too, but it vanishes before she can figure it out. She shakes it off, thinking it's her imagination, but Jin-woo notices how sharp she is. He's impressed and decides it's time to get to work. The miners head into the gate and start digging up mana stones. Jin-woo's not really focused on the stones, though his mind's on the rank A boss. He's itching to see it with his own eyes, at least once. While he's working, he overhears some of the miners whispering about his E rank. Same old story, and he's not surprised. He brushes it off and keeps grinding. When they catch a glimpse of his muscles, they start wondering if he's really E rank. The guy looks way too strong for that. After a while, it's lunch break, but Jin Woo keeps swinging his pickaxe. The leader of the miners tells him to take a break, but Jin Woo waves him off, saying he's not stopping until he finishes this spot. The rest of the crew leaves the dungeon, but Jin Woo gets that sly look in his eye. This is his shot to check out the boss. He bolts straight to the boss room, heart pounding, thinking this boss has to be the toughest thing he's ever come across. He knows he's not supposed to mess with it. Taking it down would be a huge loss for the Hunters Guild, but his instincts won't let him back off. He summons his dagger, ready to charge in. Right as he's about to move, Chahi stops him in his tracks. She steps in and asks what the hell he's doing there, catching him red-handed. Jin Woo figures he messed up big time and tells Chahi he just got turned around and ended up here. She fires back, asking if he is from the mining crew, and lets him know he is in the territory of the boss, telling him to step back. Jin Woo is thinking Chahi totally lives up to the buzz. He did not even notice her coming until she started talking. Then Chahi points out that the dagger she saw in his hand earlier is gone, wondering if she was just imagining it. Jin Woo apologizes for wandering off, and she warns him to get out right away before he riles up the boss. As Jin Woo starts to leave, she spots something off and tells him to stop. He does, and she takes a quick sniff, surprised that he does not smell funky. She asks if he is really a hunter, and finds out he is, though he is just an E rank. He wonders if something is wrong, but she shrugs it off and tells him to be careful on his way out. As he turns to leave, she thinks maybe he does not smell bad because his rank is too low. Ironically, she figures he actually smells pretty good. Later, we see Jin Woo heading back into the dungeon after his break, while his mining buddies are all jealous that he got to meet Chahi when he got lost. They say they can only check her out from a distance, explaining that she is always patrolling the area to keep the boss in line, even if it means skipping her own break. Jin Woo realizes that is why she was hanging around the room of the boss. The mining boss even tells him that she is kind of picky about the scent of other hunters. The miners explain it is because of her unique build, which is why she always covers her nose with a handkerchief. Jin Woo notices her reaction to him was different and starts wondering if that means he does not carry the usual hunter scent. He recalls that the boss of the Red Gate said something similar and figures it must be because he is a player. Now he is left wondering what being a player really means, though he honestly has no clue. Later, we see him cashing in after the mining grind is over. The miner boss even thanks him because they wrapped things up early thanks to him. The crew tells him he has got some mad talent, and the boss adds that he has never seen anyone like him in all his years. The boss asks if he would be down to work for him from now on, promising fair pay, but Jin Woo says it is just a one-off job for him. The boss is not too thrilled with that answer, but he still begs Jin Woo to stick around for one more day, explaining that tomorrow they have got back-to-back A and C rank missions. Jin Woo figures his re-evaluation test is the day after tomorrow, and he feels like he really got a handle on the raid process today. However, he is pretty shocked to learn that the Hunter Guild is stacking raid missions one after the other. They are handling 2 missions tomorrow. The boss breaks it down. The second assault team is on deck for tomorrow's missions, and Jin Woo is totally blown away. He boasts that the Hunter Guild's biggest flex is having 2 assault teams that can raid a rank gates, something no other guild in the country can pull off. After hearing all that, Jin Woo agrees to roll through tomorrow too, and the boss is pumped. He tells Jin Woo he is going to talk to his higher-ups about doubling his salary. Jin Woo tells him not to worry about it, but the boss is having none of it. Later that night, we catch Chahi asking someone to dig up info on Jin Woo from the mining crew. It turns out the person already knows Jin Woo. He tells her that Mr. Choi had him do the same thing the other day, but he cannot share any details since all info on him is sealed by the Hunter Association. He thinks it is kinda sketchy. He has never seen the association lock down info on someone who is not a high-level hunter. Chahi cuts the call and flops onto her bed, wondering what all this could mean. She figures she has met a ton of hunters before, but this is the first time she has come across someone who actually smells good. The next day, Jin Woo pulls up to the gate site, and everyone welcomes him like he is a high-profile guest. It brings back memories of his early hunting days, and he cannot help but smile. They decide to kick things off with the C-rank gate, and you can see Jin Woo mining those monostones like a straight-up excavator. After wrapping up work, he grabs some grub with the crew, and the boss gives him mad props for all his hustle, saying they only finished early and hit this lunch break because of him. The boss even wonders if Jin Woo really does not want to stick with them, offering to pay him 5 times more, but Jin Woo straight up refuses. Then, the captain of the second assault team, Sun Ki-hoon, rolls in asking if he can borrow someone from the mining crew because their porter bailed today. The boss suggests that the recovery team would be better at carrying stuff, but Ki-hoon fires back that they already said they were short-staffed. The boss is not too happy with that, so Ki-hoon ups the offer by throwing in a risk allowance if the miners roll with him into the dungeon. The boss shuts it down, saying low-rank hunters like them are not built for porting in rank dungeons. Money is not going to fix that. Ki-hoon asks one last time if anyone is down, and Jin Woo steps up with his hand. The boss tries to talk him out of it, but Jin Woo tells him not to worry because he has got guts. They still try to stop him, saying he is too new and does not know what he is getting into, but Ki-hoon just asks his rank. When he hears Jin Woo is E rank, Ki-hoon shrugs and says that is cool, so he is bringing him along. They then head to the gate, and Jin Woo notices this gate is bigger than the one from yesterday. Ki-hoon mentions it might be larger, but its magic power is not as strong as yesterday's, assuring him it is not dangerous, or else the second team would not be there. Jin Woo then sees there are 6 rank A and 3 rank B hunters on the team, making it a legit assault team even without an S rank hunter. They head into the gate, and while Jin Woo figures the magic power here is definitely lower than before, he still senses something ominous better resembling the red gate. The team's healer tells him not to stress because all the hunters here are strong, and nothing is going to go down as long as he sticks with them. Ki-hoon is thinking that once this raid mission is done, he will finally get promoted to captain of this team, believing he can handle it, even if he is not as strong as the current captain and vice captain. Just then, they pick up on some monsters ahead and instantly gear up without waiting for any orders. They get jumped by some dungeon jackals, but these critters are weak, gone in seconds. Everyone is surprised to see dungeon jackals here, and Jin Woo wonders if they are a rare breed. The healer explains they are just C-rank monsters, and it is odd to see them in a dungeon since weak monsters usually get snapped up by the stronger ones. Then Jin Woo notices collars around their necks, which means someone was raising them as hunting dogs. Right then, a fresh wave of monsters rolls in, an army of high orcs. One of them throws a spear and Ki-hoon barely blocks it. The orcs charge and the tank tries his taunt skill, but it does not work, so they end up targeting the folks in the back. One orc manages to push them back, but the monsters take no real damage thanks to their high magic resistance. The party's mage tries to bind one of them, but it is too strong, so the fire mage summons 2 fire soldiers to back her up. The fire soldiers go to war with the orcs while the rest of the team is busy fighting. The orcs injure the team's martial artist and they ask the healer to patch her up, but she is already busy healing the tank. Ki-hoon starts thinking they are seriously outnumbered and this might be the end for them, especially when the orcs chop off one of the hunter's arms. Hoping no one dies, the healer fixes up the hunter who just lost his arm, regenerating it completely, while the bespectacled mage holds off the orcs. Then an orc sneaks up behind the healer and she braces for the worst. Out of nowhere, Jin Woo steps in with his ruler's hand, ripping out the orc's spine. The healer is left stunned and Jin Woo uses his stealth skills to back up the other hunters, sneaking around and attacking the orcs quietly to weaken them before anyone notices. The team is surprised to see the orcs suddenly losing their edge, so they go all in, launching a full-scale offensive and taking them down one by one. Jin Woo does not want to stand out as an outsider, but he refuses to let anyone die on his watch. He keeps sneaking around, taking down the monsters without drawing too much attention. In the end, the rest of the hunters finish the job, wiping out all the orcs. Ki-hoon checks in with everyone, making sure they are all good, and he is relieved to see they are. The healer tells him something weird went down during the fight, and Ki-hoon adds that he noticed the monsters suddenly got way weaker. He asks the mages if they had a hand in it, but they deny it, saying there is no way that could happen without someone on the assassin-type side handling things. They decide not to overthink it since they ended up winning in the end, chalking it up to pure luck. Meanwhile, the bespectacled mage in the crew figures their porter really underestimated them. He should have known his stealth would be picked up, especially with a magic caster around. She keeps her thoughts to herself because she thinks he had his reasons, and she owes him major props for keeping them alive. Then the hunters ask their captain whether they should keep pushing forward or pull back, pointing out that if they want to take on a dungeon of this caliber, they would need at least 2 more healers and 3 more mages. They are all about retreating, and the leader takes a minute to think it over. Jin-woo gets why some might stick around in a dungeon, but he hopes the boss makes the right call. In the end, the leader decides to pull out, and everyone is relieved. They roll up to the exit gate, only to find it sealed off by a barrier. They all remember that this thing was not there when they first rolled in, so the mages step up to break it down, feeling grateful they chose to dip because this dungeon is clearly packing some high-level magic. At that moment, everyone feels a huge surge of magical power washing over them, and they start wondering if that surge comes from the boss. The mages hustle to tear down the barrier, and Jin-woo begins questioning why a spike of magic like that was not picked up when they were still outside, seeing as even a B-rank hunter should have caught wind of it. Just then, the mages start bleeding all over, and everyone realizes a curse was laid on the barrier as a trap. The captain tells one of the hunters to cast some divine magic, but nobody listens, so he turns around to see what is going on and spots an entire army of orcs behind them. They count roughly 50 orcs, while the leaders of both sides step forward to meet halfway. The orc leader tries to communicate, but his words make no sense to them, and then the orc shaman takes over the leader's body and starts speaking in human. The shaman introduces himself as Kargalgan and tells Kahun he wants to see the humans. Kahun asks if he was the one who blocked the entrance, and the shaman confirms it. Kahun then asks if there is any stronger force in the dungeon, and the shaman replies there is not, ordering him to choose between coming to see him or dying at the hands of his soldiers. Kahun clearly opts to face the shaman, and the orcs lead the way. Meanwhile, Kahun tells Jin-woo they are going to attack the boss as soon as they hit its chamber, which will distract it long enough so it cannot keep up the barrier. He orders Jin-woo to take the chance to dip out and alert the other assault team, leaving Jin-woo to wonder if they are setting themselves up for a fatal end. Kahun makes it clear that their mission is to shut down the gate, not to come out of the dungeon alive. The healer hands Jin-woo a short will, asking him to give it to her family. Jin-woo accepts it, hoping it never comes to that, while she stresses that they have to complete the mission even if things are different for him and he must make sure he escapes. Jin-woo thinks this desperate situation reminds him of the double dungeon, but the people here are nothing like those he has seen before. At the same time, outside the gate, Cha-hee is searching for Jin-woo, but she cannot find him and wonders if he bailed on the team. The boss of the mining crew notices her, and when she asks about Jin-woo, she learns he went inside the gate as a porter. Back inside the gate, Jin-woo and the others arrive at a throne room where they are greeted by Kargalgan and a massive army of orcs. Meanwhile, outside the gate, Cha-hee stands there, wondering why Jin-woo went inside as a porter, knowing damn well he's only got one life to live. She remembers seeing him just yesterday, standing in front of a boss room with a weapon in hand. There's something about him that feels off. She turns to the leader of the miners, telling him she's heading in to check things out. She asks if they got any weapons lying around. The leader doesn't have much to offer. He hands her a pickaxe. She looks at it, then asks if there's anything else, but all they have are mining tools, nothing that even resembles a real weapon. Cha-hee figures she'll go in empty-handed, but the leader asks if she's sure about that. After thinking for a second, she takes the axe. Meanwhile, inside the gate, the hunters are freaking out over the insane number of high orcs. They know if this many get out, cities won't stand a chance. Then they spot the 4 generals, stronger than the rest by a mile. The boss raises a hand, ordering silence. The orcs stop their thumping, and Kahun realizes their mission is clear, to shut this gate down. And to do that, they gotta take out the dungeon boss. At that moment, the boss reaches for his mask. The moment it comes off, his magic energy floods the room, crashing over the hunters and shaking them to their core. They feel it heavy in the air, like they're standing in front of something beyond them. Kahun and the others are straight up terrified, realizing they're nothing compared to him. Kahun forces himself to ask why the boss even brought them here. The boss laughs, calling them nothing more than entertainment. He plans to kill them one by one, slowly and painfully, just to amuse his soldiers. That hits them hard. Despair creeps in, and fear sinks even deeper. Kahun feels like they're nothing more than disposable toys, completely meaningless. Then the boss's eyes shift, landing on Jin-woo. Something about him feels different. He ain't like the rest. Then out of nowhere, Kahun snaps. The weight of fear, anger, and desperation all explode at once. With everything he's got, he charges straight at the boss, roaring for the others to back him up. But when he looks around, nobody moves. The fear has them all frozen in place. With nothing but wild courage driving him forward, he swings straight at the boss. The boss doesn't even flinch effortlessly. He raises his magic shield, blocking the attack like it was nothing. He throws down his gravitational magic, slamming Kahun into the floor and sealing like a damn pinball. His squad watches in shock, but Jinwoo catches him and lays him down easy. He knows he ain't supposed to interfere this, the Hunters Guild's mission, but the whole assault team on the edge of getting wiped out. No way he's standing by. Suddenly, an orc lunges at him, but he shuts it down in an instant, crushing it with ruler's hand. He turns to Cahoon, asking if he can toss all these magical beasts his way. Cahoon, barely hanging on, begs him to take over. Dude got no other choice. The boss sees Jinwoo as arrogant, flaunting his magical power. At the same moment, Jinwoo senses the strongest aura he's ever felt, but their roles in this fight were destined to collide. Without missing a beat, Jinwoo calls up his shadow army, dead set on ending this right here and right now. Outside the dungeon, the scene shifts. Jin Chul and the surveillance squad pull up to the gate. The miners eye them, wondering what's going down. Jin Chul stuck on one thing: why the hell Jinwoo working as a miner for 2 days? Their leader steps up, asking what's up. Jin Chul fires back, wanting to know about Jinwoo. That when one of the miners, who been salty about Jinwoo, pipes up saying he always knew something off about that guy. Jin Chul brushes him off and turns back to the leader, asking where Jinwoo is. That when he finds out the dude already went inside the gate as a porter. None of this makes sense to Jin Chul. First Jinwoo breaking rocks in the mine. Now he's strolling into a high-risk dungeon as a porter. Since he hit S rank, every move he makes under watch. He just wishes the guy would think things through a little. The miners' leader still confused, but Jin Chul tells him to check the news tomorrow, he'll understand soon enough. Then he steps closer to the gate, and the leader tells him that Chahi had asked the same thing not long ago. That catches Jin Chul off guard, but before he can react, something even crazier hits him. He senses a wild aura coming from inside the gate. He tells his team to run another magic power test on this dungeon. Meanwhile, inside the gate, Chahi stares at the battlefield, stunned by the pile of dead high orcs. Ain't no way Cahoon's crew took down that many. She can't make sense of it. But one thing's clear: she felt that crazy surge of magic power too. No time to waste, so head straight for the boss room. Meanwhile, the boss laughing at Jinwoo, thinking he's a fool for bringing such a small force against his army. Jinwoo ain't phased. He amps up his shadow army with Monarch's Domain. He breaks it down. This a new job skill he picked up. And after that battle at the demon's castle, his shadow soldiers got way stronger. The other hunters are straight up lost at this point. The high orcs rush Jinwoo's army, but his generals rip through them like it's warm-up drills. Jinwoo steps in too, cutting down more high orcs. The hunters watching notice something: his movements match Chahi's. They can't figure out why somebody this strong came in as a porter. Jinwoo analyzes the fight, realizing his infantry's strength sits around a B-rank hunter's level, but his soldiers are dropping 4 or 5 times just to take down a single orc. If he don't thin their numbers fast, his mana gonna take a serious hit. That's when the boss jumps in, unleashing a fire spell that wipes out a huge chunk of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. He tells Jinwoo to quit acting cocky, but Jinwoo don't even blink. He lets the boss know his soldiers can rise up again and again, no limit. The boss ain't having it. He smashes down with gravity magic, slamming both Jinwoo and his soldiers. He laughs, saying he'll keep crushing them till Jinwoo's magic power runs dry. The fight drags on. Every time the boss obliterates Jinwoo's army, Jinwoo just brings them back. Jinwoo watches closely, wondering if the boss is trying to keep his distance by relying on long-range attacks. The boss, on the other hand, is trying to see how long Jinwoo can hold out. Meanwhile, outside the gate, the magic power test results come in. Turns out this dungeon is almost at S rank level. Jin Chul don't waste time. He orders the miners to get the Hunters Guild leader on the line, while the surveillance team gears up to back the assault squad. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, the boss locks eyes with Jinwoo, telling him his army outmatches him in both strength and numbers. Jinwoo already knows his magic power is draining fast. Ain't no hesitation. He downs a mana potion, power surging back. Then he grins, saying he ain't even started showing what a real hunter can do. Without missing a beat, he resurrects every fallen high orc as undead. Then looks the boss dead in the eye, letting him know he's next. The boss freezes, confused. He mumbles, calling Jinwoo Lord, struggling to understand why he's even here. Then memories hit him. From the moment he opened his eyes in this place, one command has been running through his head: kill humans. The reason don't matter, orders are orders. He decides to follow through, sending his generals in to finish this fight. Cut to the Hunters Guild. Mr. Choi sits there, stunned as he hears the gate is close to S rank. Ain't no way that evaluation's wrong. If it was, Cahoon and the others would have been out by now. Reality hits him: if this gate breaks, it's Jeju Island all over again. The only difference is, this time they still have a chance to stop it, wasting none of it. He orders his assistant to mobilize every hunter in the guild. The assistant immediately sends word to every A rank and above. Then Mr. Choi adds something else. They might need backup from White Tiger and Fiend Guild. The assistant didn't see that coming, but Mr. Choi lays it out plain. Right now all they can do is stop this from spiraling into something worse. Back inside the boss room, the fight heats up. Jinwoo's generals clash with the Orc general, but they ain't struggling, they dominate. The boss watches, stunned, as his generals get completely wrecked. The other hunters decide to jump in, back Jinwoo up. But the boss ain't having it. He slashes through a few of them, making sure they stay out of his way. He finally gets off his burning ass, swearing he's gonna make Jinwoo regret ever stepping up to him. No hesitation, he casts curses, trying to blind him, slow him down, knock him out, but nothing works. Jinwoo stands tall unfazed, letting the boss know his resistance to poison and curses ain't like the rest. Without wasting a second, he summons his mages. The boss throws up his magic shield, trying to block the attack, but the mages hit him with a fireball powered up by the Orb of Avarice. That fireball cuts through his barrier, slamming into him hard. He freaks out, not expecting that. Right then, Jahi pulls up eyes wide, trying to make sense of what's happening. She spots the other hunters, sees Cahoon hurt, but the healer is already handling it. She asks what's going down, but they ain't even sure themselves. Meanwhile, the boss powers himself up, stacking spells on top of each other until he turns into a giant, then tries to stomp Jinwoo out. Jinwoo moves too fast. He mutters that he ain't got love for giants, probably cause of what went down in that double dungeon. The boss doesn't care, throws out fire spells all around. Burning up anything nearby, friend or enemy doesn't matter. He glares at Jinwoo, daring him to think he can still win this. Jinwoo don't hesitate, he goes straight for the boss's eye, stabbing deep. He smirks, telling the boss he messed up turning into a giant, it just made him a bigger target. Then he lays it out, mages with no backup don't stand a chance against assassin-type hunters. That only pisses the boss off more. He throws out some deadly fire magic, but Jinwoo is too quick, slipping past every attack. He goes in with his dagger, but the blade barely does a thing. He knows he needs something heavier. That's when he uses his ruler's hand, snatching up some chains, wrapping them tight around the boss, then starts slamming him all over the place. Right then, Jin Chul steps in, eyes locked on the crazy scene in front of him. He tells Chahi he showed up cause he sensed some strong magic outside, but looking at this now, it don't seem like his help's needed anymore. Seeing even the chief of the surveillance department recognizing Jinwoo's power, Chahi starts thinking he must be a big deal. She turns to Jin Chul, asking who Jinwoo really is. Jin Chul shrugs, says he don't even know the guy like that. At that moment, Jinwoo tells the injured boss his fate was sealed the second his guards died. But the boss refuses to go out like that, so Jinwoo calls up his own former guards to finish the job right then and there. After wrecking the boss, Jinwoo levels up and pulls the boss's soul straight out. He sees he can name him, but don't even remember what the boss was called, so he names him Fang. Turns out Fang got the Elite Knight rank. Jinwoo ain't seen that rank before, but he knows it's something serious. He also figures the High Orcs were a solid win. Then Jinchul steps up. Jinwoo ain't noticed him till now, too caught up in soul extraction. The other hunters come up, asking what the hell just happened. But before he can say a word, Jinchul's team cuts in, telling them Jinwoo is the association's top secret right now. He tells everybody to keep quiet about what went down, letting them know Jinwoo only showed that S-rank power to protect them. Jinchul and his people walk Jinwoo out, but before leaving, Cahoon and his crew step up, thanking him straight up. Jinwoo nods, then looks at the healer again, making sure the message is clear. Later, Mr. Choi gets the report on everything that happened, and now he sees how unreal Jinwoo really is. He can't believe how many skills this guy got. He asks Cahoon who's stronger, him or Jinwoo. Cahoon tells him raids usually take a whole squad, everybody playing their role, but Jinwoo breaks all that common sense. Then he asks Mr. Choi if he thinks he could solo the hardest S-rank dungeon. Mr. Choi don't even hesitate. He says no. In his head, that ultimate hunter title of his don't mean a thing anymore. Meanwhile, Jinwoo links up with Yu, asking how that whole guild master situation went. Yu tells him what's up. Then the scene flips to the Hunter Association. A famous actor, Lee Min-seung, just awakened as a hunter, the media swarming the place. Min-seung standing there, eating up all the attention, feeling like he's the main event.